The USC Revenant was never meant to be a hero. It was an old battleship, half its systems outdated, its armor patched more times than anyone could count. When war broke out between humanity and the Xelari Dominion, newer, faster ships led the charge. The Revenant was sent to the edges of the battlefield, a support vessel, meant to hold the line while the real warships fought and died. No one expected it to last. When the Dominion fleet pushed deep into human space, it was clear that Earth's defenses were crumbling. And when the Revenant was ordered to escort a convoy of refugees to safety, everyone knew what that really meant. It was a sacrifice. A slow-moving target, left behind to buy time. The enemy came faster than expected. A Xelari war fleet 20 ships strong descended upon them. The Revenant had no reinforcements, no escape, no chance. The logical choice was to surrender. The crew knew the Dominion didn't take prisoners, but a quick death was better than watching the civilians be torn apart. Captain Elias Rains disagreed. A man who had spent his life in battle, he had never accepted the idea of a good death. If they were going down, they were taking the enemy with them. The crew prepared for their final fight. Weapons systems were pushed beyond safe limits, every last drop of power diverted to shields and engines. They sent a single message to the convoy: run. We'll hold them as long as we can. Then the Revenant turned to face the impossible. The first Xelari barrage struck like a sledgehammer. The ship's hull groaned under the assault, energy shields flickering. But the crew fought like demons. They weren't defending a fleet, a planet, or a government. They were defending families. Children. The last hope of a species on the brink. And that made them fight harder than any machine or cold, calculating strategy ever could. Missiles and railgun rounds ripped through the void, striking enemy ships with surgical precision. The Revenant weaved between incoming fire, moving faster than any ship its size had a right to. The Xelari, expecting an easy kill, found themselves in a brutal brawl with a warship that refused to die. Every time they thought it was finished, the Revenant clawed back from the brink, engines sputtering, guns still firing. It shouldn't have been possible. The ship's reactor was failing, its hull breaking apart. But it didn't stop. It never stopped. One by one, Xelari warships fell. The enemy grew desperate, throwing everything they had at the dying battleship. But something happened, something no one could explain. The Revenant should have been vaporized 10 times over, yet it endured. Its systems repaired themselves faster than human engineers could manage. Its weapons hit harder, its engines burned brighter. The ship itself seemed alive. And then came the final moment. The Xelari flagship, a dreadnought capable of leveling entire planets, moved in for the killing blow. The Revenant had nothing left, power was failing, ammunition was gone. But Captain Rains wasn't done. He issued his final order: all hands, brace. We take them with us. The Revenant surged forward at impossible speed, its damaged hull glowing white-hot. It struck the dreadnought dead center, and in that instant, a blinding explosion consumed them both. When the light faded, the enemy fleet was broken. The convoy had escaped. And the Revenant was gone. But the story didn't end there. Days later, human scouts arrived to salvage the wreckage. What they found defied explanation. There was no trace of the Revenant. No debris, no bodies. Just an empty void where it should have been. Some believed the ship had been vaporized entirely. Others whispered of something stranger, that the Revenant had refused to die. That somewhere, out there in the dark, it still existed. Waiting. Watching. A ghost ship, forever hunting the enemies of humanity. Years later, Dominion fleets reported strange encounters, a lone battleship appearing from nowhere, striking with impossible precision before vanishing into the void. The Zealary began to fear the name. Whispers spread across the stars, rumors of a warship that defied death itself. The USC Revenant was no longer just a ship. It was a legend. And legends never die.